And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? Emergency traffic at this time. And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about. Trying to help people achieve the best-sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the best-sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to get able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 3,000 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And we also have a newer series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are segments of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year career in commercial broadcasting, a 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is that I have all the actual masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length major music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 5 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, specifically, and in addition, we're running our newer number 5 Hocus Pocus Internet SDR receiver loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed Internet SDR locations spread out over 20 states across the eastern half of the United States, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 5 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. These are run as a directional scanner array with a manual voting system 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR, specially oriented, resonant tuned dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant tuned dipole antenna runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let's take a pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this part of the band has many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. And again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now, with all that being said, let's open it up and see who's out there. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. One more time, a little slower.
Victoria, America, 3, Germany, kilowatt, X-ray.
Roger, Roger, what's the name there?
Name is Yuri, Yankee, Uniform, Romeo, India.
Is that Yuri?
Roger.
All right, Yuri, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Roger, Roger. And what radio are you running today, Yuri?
I am running Fox Tango 891.
Roger, Roger. Well, this net is all about setups, and I think you might be a little hot into your ALC. Roger, Roger.
My mic is Chris Audio. I know it's flutter all over the place, but I'm portable, so I need it.
Yes, sir. Much better. Now, see, a little life in your audio dynamics really helps intelligibility. Otherwise, you know, when you're right up against the wall, it becomes very blurry, Roger.
It becomes very blurry, Roger. Roger, thank you very much. Appreciate the comments, and may I have your consent, please?
Yes, sir. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and we're located down around Louisville, Kentucky. We're actually on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville, Kentucky, and this is the Qso-Vlog net. Roger?
Qso-Vlog net, Roger? Roger. Yeah, I came here by accident, but it's good to hear your voice. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Nice to meet you, Jim.
Yes, sir, Yuri. Boy, I tell you, you are a loud son of a gun. That's a beautiful sounding radio. Like I say, in the initial part of it, you were a little hot into your AOC, and then when you backed off, boy, she really cleaned up nicely.
Roger, Jim. I'm using 160-meter loop antenna here in the park.
Ah, I see. So you're a remote operation in a park?
Remote operation in a park? Yeah, well, not remote. I'm here in the park myself. I'm doing both. I park on the air, and I'm battery operated with my radio and the wire antenna in the tree.
Roger, well, you're sure sounding good for, now the antenna that you're running. What kind of antenna you got up there?
The antenna is 160-meter loop, horizontal loop.
Yeah, well, now when you say 160 meters, how many feet's that?
That's 160-meter band. That's the wall. You can multiply it by 3, so it's over 500 feet, I suppose.
Ah, yes, sir. Well, see, now, up in Canada, you guys go by, different terminologies than we do down this way, Roger.
Well, I just named the antenna by the band. The band is, the 2 megahertz band, 1.8 megahertz band. It's called 160 meters band. So I call antenna the same because that antenna is resonant on this band.
Yes, sir. Now, let me just ask you, how much power are you running right now?
I'm only running 100 watts. I have a 3-amp battery here. So 100.
Roger. Now, I'm copying the mail on you on the PASDR, and you're just, must be at least 30 over, Roger.
Roger, thanks for 30 over. Yeah, this is a big antenna, and it has a gain, so it's much bigger than I need to, but I want the choice of bands. That's why I made a bigger one this year.
Roger. Now, are you doing a solo act, or do you have a lot of folks with you? What's going on there in the park?
No, I'm by myself. That's the way I do it most of the time. I'm just sitting under a tree and talking into a radio.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm trying to visualize this. Are you in the car, or do you have yourself set out on a table, Roger?
Yes, I'm outside. I have a table under a tree, and that's the way I do it in the summer. In the winter, I do it from my car.
Roger, Yuri. Well, you do have a beautiful signal, and we are recording now till 5. So, if you would like to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, that will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Roger that, Jim. Thank you very much. I will definitely check it out. Thank you so much. I suppose other people want to talk to you as well, so I'll call it I'll call it a QSO. Thanks a lot, 73s.
Roger, Roger, Yuri, sounding beautiful. Get the Gorilla Tape out and taper down. Yeah, you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We'd love to have you. That's Yuri up in Canada. This is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Thanks a lot, Jim. I will try to do it next Friday. Thanks a lot. Please.
Roger, Roger, Yuri.
Roger, Yuri.
This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Radio you want to check out, give me a shot.
Tango, Tango.
Tango, Tango station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign.
Roger. Kilowatt, Quebec, 4, Lima, Tango, Tango. Again, Kilowatt, Quebec, 4, Lima, Tango, Tango.
Roger, Roger, Lima, Lima, Tango, Tango. What's the name there?
Tango, Tango. What's the name there?
Name here is Jeremy, Juliet, Echo, Romeo, Echo, Mike, Yankee.
Roger, Jeremy, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
Roger, Jeremy, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
I am located in the beautiful mountains of northeast Georgia, sir.
Yes, sir. I wish I had my Georgia SDR up. I'm on my Kentucky SDR. You're coming in probably about 15 over on the Georgia. I'm on the Kentucky SDR. Sound really good, Roger.
The Kentucky SDR sound really good, Roger.
Roger, thank you for that. You're a solid 5'9". You sound great right here.
Okay, come back and give me about 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and let me tune around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Tune around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Well, Roger, E7300, barefoot, 100 watts into an off-center fed dipole about 40 feet up in the yard here. But I'm also elevated. I'm at about 1,900 feet up in the mountains of northeast Georgia.
Roger, Roger, Jeremy, I just went to my local antenna, and you're even better there. My local receiver is the 7300. I've been running a Yaesu FT990, an older radio, modified pretty highly, and I've used that radio for the first 5 years of this network, and then we switched over to the 7300, but occasionally I go back to the 990 just to blow the cobwebs out. Roger?
Roger, I'm still running the shiny hasn't worn off of mine yet. This is my first radio. Got my license back in October. This is my first HF radio, and so I'm still very excited about it.
Okay, and what radio was that?
It's an IC 7300.
Yes, sir. Those are such beautiful radios. They're hard to mess up, man. Bob Heil, before he passed, spent some time with the folks at ICOM, and he designed the whole audio system, front end of that radio, just to be competitive, because ICOM had a problem earlier with sensitivity, mic sensitivity input level, and so they wanted more gain in the front end, and Bob started using that, designed that electret condenser mic for the stock microphone, and that gave them much more gain than what they were getting out of the dynamic microphones. Plus the fact that those electret microphones are so much better articulated. I just wonder if you're still running that hand mic, it's supplied hand mic.
Yes, sir. I'm using the stock microphone that came with it. I would at some point like to get either a headset or a boom mic, but I'm still running this, and I've got a very fancy pair of headphones on my head that I actually stole from my children that seems to just work fine for my setup.
Roger. Well, it's going to cost you $300 to just come up to the level of that hand mic that you're using right now. I mean, that hand mic is just so beautiful. Bob did such a good job of designing that hand mic. The thing that I add to his design is that when you work that microphone, you pull it to the side of your lips and talk across it. Don't talk right into it. Talk to it from the side of your mouth. Roger, let it actually touch the side of your mouth.
Okay, well, I usually hold it up in front, so this is in front, and now this is the side. So does it sound better now, the side, or does it sound better now in front? QSL?
It sounds better to the side because you do pick up a lot of mouth noises when you're directly working into it. Now, if you happen to have a foam windscreen that you could put over that mic, you could work it any way you want, but that's hard to accomplish on a hand mic. So we just suggest that you talk across it and pull it to the side of your lips, actually touch the side of your lips and talk across, and you really minimize all mouth noises, and what's left is words. Roger?
Roger that. I was unaware of that, so I will keep that in mind going forward. I did not know that, so thank you for the new information.
Oh, yes, sir. And, if you carry that to the worst extreme, some folks, when they work directly into those hand mics, they wind up QRMing themselves. The actual noise that the mouth is making is louder than the words that they're saying. Roger?
Roger that. And like I say, I knew it was a good mic. Everybody says it sounds great, but I did not know the trick about talking into it sideways. So that's pretty cool. I'll keep that in mind.
Yes, sir, Jeremy, and your sound just beautiful. I would get the Gorilla Tape out and tape her down. Roger?
Roger. Thank you so much.
And if you'd like to hear your audio and the difference between talking directly into it and talking to the side, we are recording now. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger that. I will check that out. That's pretty cool. I'll go and look it up tomorrow afternoon. Sounds great. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, Jeremy. So 73 that way, and get the Gorilla Tape and tape her down. Roger?
Roger.
And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We'd love to have you. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. My name is Jim, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9 Victor Kilo Victor. This is W4NSH.
That's NSH. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
What's the name there?
The name is Roy Romeo Oscar Yankee.
Roger, Roy. And whereabouts are you located, sir?
I'm located in Clayton, Georgia.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here. These SDRs get pretty popular from time to time, and so sometimes when I talk about SDRs, my Georgia SDR. After a while, it's like advertising, and everybody's got to use that SDR. And pretty soon, when I go to check in, it says, you can't check in because there's not enough room. But we'll put you on a queue that when somebody drops off, we'll open up for you. So I've been on the queue for about 25 minutes. And that's, Georgia's a really important SDR receiver. Roger.
Roger that. Just to let you know, I'm running an ICOM 7300, and I have an in-fed half-wave antenna.
Roger, well, why don't you give me about 15 seconds and let me, tell me about your antenna system in 15 seconds, and, I'll look around and see if I can find us a better path. I'm on my local antenna right now. I think I can do, maybe a little bit better than that. Roger?
Roger that.
Roger?
Roger that. I'm running an SM30 wave horizontal antenna, and running it with a 7300 ICOM machine.
Roger. Well, it's still pretty hot on my local antenna. So I've got a 6-position rotary selector, and I've got 5 SDRs in there on that rotary selector, plus my local receiver, and I can zing around and find out what's hot and what's not, and right now my local receiver 7300 is doing great on my dipole antenna. You're sounding really good. Might be just a little shallow on the bottom end, but if you would like, we could review a couple of things to see if we might get you a little bit better. Yes, sir. The first thing is to be sure that you're in that 100 to 2900 transmit band mode. That's called wide in that 7300, 100 to 2900. Are you familiar with that?
Negative. Not familiar.
Okay, it's in your book. And there's 3 of them, different bandwidths for the transmitter, and 100 to you might want to take a note. 100 to 2900 is the best bandwidth to be in because it lets that transmitter perform at its maximum capability. 100 to 2900 and gives you just a slice of daylight before you wind up into somebody else's conversation. Roger.
Roger.
So once past the transmit bandwidth, TBW, let's go to your compressor, and we want that on a 3. Compression level at a 3 on the 7300. Roger?
Roger that. I'll just set it at 3.
Okay, and then after you get that compression on a 3, move to your ALC and with mic gain in hand, and as you say the word audio, don't push it, just don't stress it, just say it, like you would say any other word in a QSO, and then as you say it, adjust your mic level until your ALC meter is running 2/3. 2/3 on your ALC meter as you say the word audio. Just stretch that first part of that word out. We're just mainly interested in the part of that word as far as setting a level. Roger?
Roger.
And then after you get your ALC set, then you can move to your equalizer, and that equalizer, that's a 2-band equalizer you have, so I would suggest pumping up another 2 clicks treble EQ, plus 2 clicks additional treble EQ from where you are. Roger?
Roger that.
And I think you'd be ready to go right there with that. Roger?
Roger. Thanks very much. I'll get the combos onto the radio right away.
Yes, sir, and then join us, well, later today if you get a chance. We broadcast till 5, but if not today, then next Friday, drop by and let me hear all them numbers cranked in, Roger.
Roger that. I'll try to do it. Thanks very much. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Roger, Roy, 73 down in Georgia. You have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. There's somebody calling, station calling. Come back one more time with the call sign.
November 8, Uniform November Romeo.
November 8, November Romeo, is that a Roger?
November 8, Uniform November Romeo.
Uniform November Radio, is that a Roger?
Roger.
What's the name there?
Name here is John Juliet Oscar Hotel November.
Roger, John, and what's your location, sir?
Location is just suburbs of Cincinnati, Ohio.
And John, what radio are you running today?
Running a FT710 Yaesu.
FT710, is that a Roger?
Roger.
Okay, I've got you on my local antenna, and sounds pretty good. Come back and tell me about your antenna system for about 15 seconds, and see if I can get a better path. Roger?
Roger. What I have is 2.
Roger.
Roger. Here. One going here. So I can put one going north on these infrared antennas. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well, I've looked at your audio. It sounds a little heavy on the bottom side. Maybe we could run through a setup real quick on that 710. And first thing would be to be sure, is that an older radio, Roger, or a newer radio?
It's a new radio. I've had it for about 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. So if you're familiar with it, there's a thing called transmit bandwidth, and we're looking for it to be in that 100 to 2900 mode. There are, probably 3 different modes in that radio as far as selection, and we wanted that transmitter to work in the best mode possible that would give that transmitter the best possible opportunity, and that is the 100 to 2900. And if you're not familiar with that, just take a note and try to get it in that mode at your leisure. Roger?
Give me that bandwidth again.
Okay, it's called transmit bandwidth, TBW, and it's usually in settings, transmit, sideband, and it's, settings is the 2 wrenches there or whatever it is, emblem, and so we want that in that wide mode, 100 to 2900. And the reason for that is that when you're in lesser modes, it starts rolling off the top end of your audio spectrum, and we don't want that. We need all of the articulation that we can get. So that 2900 part gives you all of the articulation that radio can possibly do, and then gives you just a slice of daylight before you're into somebody else's conversation. Roger?
Roger. Thank you.
So, and then our normal procedure after that is compression on at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. We're just looking for a third of the compressor possibilities. So we would suggest setting the compression processor on at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Roger? Just a third of it.
Roger, thank you.
Okay, then once you do that, then move to your ALC, and as you say the word audio, just use the first part of that word, And as you say that, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3. Roger?
Roger, thank you.
And then what I would do, I've listened to your audio, and it does sound just a little heavy on the bottom side. Of course, now I am on the 7300, so that will give you max capabilities there as far as a receiver receiving you, because that 7300 is good down to 100 cycles, whereas most of the SDRs roll out on that bottom end at about 200, 250 cycles, and that it doesn't give you quite an actual rendition of what your radio is. It's close, but it's missing the bottom side just a little bit. But I'm, like I say, running a 7300, and I'm good down to 100 cycles, and you do sound just a little bit heavy down there. So I would roll off a couple of clicks on my bass. I would go to the equalizer of your radio, and I would roll off 2 clicks bottom end and adjust 2 clicks push on the top end treble. So -2 on the bottom, +2 on the top, and make sure that mid-range is flat. We want flat on the mid-range, Roger?
Roger, thank you.
And that should do it, John. And then once you get all those numbers cranked in, you just give us a call next Friday, and we'll listen to it and see what all those numbers sound like, Roger.
Roger, thank you.
Yes, sir. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. Sound really good down this way as far as, I guess on my local antenna you're doing probably about 10 over, Roger.
Roger. Thank you very much. 73, have a good one.
Roger, John, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. If you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube, do that call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook, will take you to this recording, and it'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow, Roger.
Roger, thank you.
Yes, sir, 73, sir. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Oscar 4, Delta Foxtrot, November.
Station calling, come back again with your call sign slowly, phonetically.
Kilo Oscar 4, Delta Foxtrot, November.
Roger, Delta Foxtrot, November. And if you would, why don't you tell me about your antenna system for about 10 seconds? Let me look around and see if I can find a better path, Roger.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, my antenna...
Nearing bullet 72. Infed antenna. My transceiver.
T17.
Transceiver is a Yaesu previous caller. Actually I commented on your YouTube page last week. I've been trying for a couple of Fridays to make contact with you, and looks like I finally made it.
Yes, sir. Now, did I respond to your communication about some suggestions about how to do that?
Yes, sir, you did. You talked about a tuned dipole. Funny thing is, I haven't done anything. I've been out of town for a few days. Just I had my antenna unplugged, because lightning and storms and such. Plugged the antenna in, fired up my radio, and it was still on this station from last Friday. And I guess the propagation gods are with us today and let me reach out to you.
Yes, sir. Now, what's your location, sir?
I am in Franklin, Tennessee. It's about 20 miles south of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. And what was the name again?
The name is Troy.
Roger, Troy. And what radio is that?
Yaesu FT710.
All righty. Well, gosh, again, I point out the fact that you want to be sure that that radio is transmitting in the wide mode, and that's 100 to 2900. You're probably not familiar with that. It's in settings, transmit, sideband, etc., somewhere in there, and we want that to be in the 100 to 2900 transmit band width. It's called wide, and it gives your transmitter the opportunity to perform at its peak. Roger?
At its peak, Roger. Roger that. I can confirm I am in the wide 100 to 29 megahertz mode.
Oh, you are, Roger?
Oh, you are, Roger? Roger that.
Excellent, excellent. So then the next thing is to get about 3 on your compressor on, and add a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Roger, we just need a third of it.
Roger, we just need a third of it. So I think I found that setting. It's called proc level on this radio, and I just set it to 3.
Yes, sir. Now, don't confuse that with your mic gain control. Do you have a mic gain? Excuse me, a mic gain control?
Excuse me, a mic gain control. Roger that. Mic gain is a separate control, and that is currently at 55 euros.
Okay, so let's go to your ALC with mic gain control in hand, and as you say the word audio, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3. 2/3 or 7 on your ALC meter as you say the word audio. Don't stress it. Just say it as you would say any other word, and then adjust your mic gain as you say it to make your ALC meter reflect 2/3 or 7. Roger?
Or 7. Roger. Audio. 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 I'm up to about 72 on the mic gain, and I'm not getting much past the white and blue line.
Yes, sir. Is that to the right of center on that meter?
Roger that. The blue line starts just after 9 on the S meter. Of course, the ALC is a line below it, but the white portion is a little more than half. The red portion, the blue portion is, like you said, maybe a third of the chart. I'm up to about 85, and I'm not really moving much on that meter.
Yes, sir. Now, what kind of mic are you using there?
It's the stock mic that came with the 710. I don't know the model number, but it's a handheld mic, the one that came with the transceiver.
Yes, sir. So I would suggest pulling that mic to the corner of your lips and talking across it. Actually touch the corner of your lips and talk across it. Roger?
Talk across it. Roger? Roger that. Talking across the mic, got my lips on the corner, increasing mic gain. I'm up to 100%, and we're really not moving that ALC. It's pretty much straight up and down, not quite into the blue 2/3 area.
Roger. Okay, do you know where the equalizer page is on that radio?
Roger that. It has a parametric EQ, and I believe I can find that. Yes, I found it.
Okay, so do you know where your treble control is?
Stand by while I look.
Actually, the question is it a 3-band, 8-band, or what kind of equalizer is it first?
So that's a good question. In the menu, It's listed, it says parametric EQ1 frequency, parametric EQ level, parametric EQ bandwidth, and then there's a 2.
Okay, so sometimes you have to be in that P mode, equalizer. Since you have your processor on, check and see if you necessarily have to be in that P mode and that your equalizer is turned on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing where I would find that. Not sure on that.
Okay, let's assume then that it's on, and you don't have another set of controls called P, Roger?
P, Roger. Not that I can find.
Okay, so probably you do not have to have adjustments in the P range when you've got your processor on. So what I'm looking for is on that treble control, what frequency is that? Let me rephrase that. You have three boost controls: bass, treble, and mid-range. Roger.
And mid-range, Roger. So it looks like the way this EQ is set up, I have an EQ1 frequency level bandwidth, then an EQ2 frequency level bandwidth, and then a 3 level bandwidth. They're all off. If I turn EQ1 frequency on, I get 100 hertz, and then I can go up in the hertz range.
Okay, so let's assume that control in the middle is your mid-range, and we want that off or flat. Off or flat for that mid-range control, Roger?
For that mid-range control, Roger. Roger that. EQ2, which we're assuming is mid-range, is currently off. Matter of fact, all three. If we're assuming EQ1 is low, EQ2 is mid, and 3 is high, they're all three turned off currently.
Great. So then turn on your treble control, EQ3, and you can adjust the frequency, Roger?
Adjust the frequency, Roger. Roger that. When I turn it on, the first level is 1500, whereas EQ1, the first level was 100. So I think we're in the right range here.
Sounds like EQ1 might be the bass.
Yeah, roger that. I was agreeing because EQ3, its beginning frequency is 1500 hertz, whereas EQ1's beginning frequency is 100. So that tells me you're right. EQ1 is bass or low. 3 is very likely the treble.
Roger. So EQ3 is your treble control, and we want you to select the frequency of 2.7 kilohertz. 2.7 kilohertz for the frequency of that equalizer. Roger, the treble control.
Roger, the treble control. Roger that. I am at 2700 hertz or 2.7 kilohertz currently.
Yes, sir. And then a width of 4. Width of 4, Roger.
Width of 4, Roger. Roger that. I am at a width of 4 currently. The level is 5.
Okay, 5 out of how much top end do you have to go?
Top end do you have to go? That control goes to 10, and I currently have it at 10.
Your treble control is at 2.7, and your push is already at plus 10. Is that a Roger?
At plus 10. Is that a Roger? Roger that.
Okay, so let's go back to your bottom, your base, and go to 200 cycles. 200 cycles on your base control. Width of 4. 200 cycles. Width of 4. Roger?
Width of 4. Roger? Roger that. I am at 200 hertz, width of 4, with a level at 5. That control goes to 10 as well, but I'm currently at 5.
Is that a push 5, plus 5?
5.
I'm going to assume so. It just says 5. Let me run it up and down and see if it goes to negative. Stand by. Yes, that scale does go to the negative side, so I am currently at push 5, or positive 5.
Roger, Roger. So take that to flat, plus or minus 0, flat, Roger?
0, flat, Roger.
Roger that. We're at 0 on the level.
Okay, and gosh, I wish we had more push on the top end there. And you are all the way up to plus 10 at 2.7 kilohertz, Roger?
2.7 kilohertz, Roger.
Roger that. The level is plus 10 on the 2.7 kilohertz.
Okay, so let's go to minus 3 on the base. Minus 3 on the base from where you are.
3 on the base from where you are.
Is that level or bandwidth?
Level, minus 3. Minus 3 on your attenuation of the base frequencies, Roger.
Attenuation of the base frequencies, Roger.
I am currently
wasting your time.
All right, and then tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
Tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
There's a separate EQ for the processor.
Receiver. I don't know anything else other than this one, so I don't have anything to compare it to. It's one of Yaesu's fairly current models. I think it came out maybe less than a year ago. Seems like it gets good ratings. Got a built-in tuner. Seems to have good sound. Roger.
Roger, Roger. Keep that mic back on the corner of your lips, and a good idea would be to keep your ALC out and watch your ALC. That's probably the most important, one of the most important meters there. And, you got to have something to do. So I would just keep that ALC meter out and try to, use my voice to keep that right in that sweet spot of 2/3, Roger.
That sweet spot of 2/3, Roger.
Roger that. Understood. Yeah, I'm at the corner, got the corner of my mouth on the mic, speaking across it. The ALC meter, as I speak, it's pretty much straight up and down, 50%. It does kind of dip down to the left-hand side every once in a while. Doesn't really dip to the right-hand side into the blue area, but it pretty much stays primarily straight up and down. How is I know we're trying to tune the audio quality here, but is my level decent? Only 100-watt radio, no amplification, in-fed antenna, so am I barely making it, or we got good levels?
Roger, your 3 dB dynamic range, which means, and I'll explain that to you, if I had a VU meter tied to a PA system at a ball game or something, and you were announcing, and I had that meter set up for 0 on your peaks, as you spoke, that meter would be bouncing around, and I would say that is a 10 dB dynamic range because it's unprocessed. So most folks say unprocessed audio is 10 dB. But come transmitting on the air, we want to fatten that signal up. So we want to tighten that 10 dB and make it 3 dB swing. So it's compressed, and at 3 dB, your average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. And it's like double the audio level. It's apparent level as you listen to it when you go from a 10 dB dynamic range signal to a 3 dB dynamic range signal. And you are right now at 3 dB, Roger?
Right now at 3 dB, Roger.
Roger that. A lot of info to digest there, but thank you for that deep explanation.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, you have need to have some idea of where we're going, and you're there. But what I try to do is say why we're there and how to get there. You know, the whole thing about level checks, I could tell you just to turn off your mic a little bit more, and you could do that, but you wouldn't know why. But now that you've set your mic by your ALC, you know how to set your mic and why, Roger.
Set your mic and why, Roger. Yeah, Roger that. Just for clarity's sake, I am at 100 on the mic gain currently.
Roger. Now, how far are you off mic? How far away from the mic are you?
How far away from the mic are you? I have the mic just about touching my lips, maybe 2 millimeters away from my lips, and I am still speaking across the mic and not into it.
Roger. I would pull it a little bit further back towards the corner of my lips, just a little bit further back than where you are.
Just a little bit further back than where you are. And when you say back, you mean further away or closer to, Roger?
Further away from the middle of your mouth, towards the corner of your mouth. So a little bit more towards the corner of your mouth.
Towards the corner of your mouth. Roger that. So that's approximately where I have it positioned now. The corner of my mouth, speaking across the mic. I moved it a little further away. Maybe we're about an inch away from my face. So where are we at now?
Yes, sir. I would actually touch the corner of my lips because as you move away, the angle of the dangle changes, you know, and what used to be a controlled area is now out in front of your voice, out in front of your face. So we wanted to pull it back and actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger.
Actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger. Roger that. Okay. It is touching the corner of my lips, speaking across the microphone. I can't get any closer to my lips than I currently have it. Roger that.
Yes, sir. And about that compressor, you think you're about 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100 on the compressor?
30 out of 100 on the compressor. So let me check the range on this. I'm at 3, but let me see where we go from there.
Roger. I turned it off just for a minute. Let me hear it with you just without it.
Just without it. Okay. That control goes up to 100, but it is currently off.
Sounds like we're getting some deliberate QRMing today. Oh my goodness, boy. You know, everybody's got to be somewhere doing something, but some people are more constructive with their lives than QRMing other people.
Yeah, when I tuned in last time, having a conversation, or you were having a stern talk with someone, and I wasn't sure what it was in regards to, but it sounds like we've got some people acting out today. You still with me, Roger?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was letting that gentleman blow his nose off, or whatever he was doing, Roger.
Whatever he was doing, Roger. Roger that. So, once again, I am, the processor is completely off. It does have a scale up to 100.
Okay, so with a scale of 100, we want to be at 30, Roger, and that's where you were?
At 30, Roger, and that's where you were? I was at 3. I am currently at 30 now. Roger?
Oh, so it's a 0 to 100 scale on your processor, Roger?
On your processor, Roger? Roger that. And we were at 3 just until right now, and now we are at 30.
I see. Okay, let's go back and reset our ALC level. When you mess with your EQ and you mess with your compressor, you should always go back and double check your ALC level that you're still correct. So we're looking for 2/3 as you say the word audio, and adjust your mic for that reading.
Mic for the reading.
Roger that. Audio. I'm at 100 on the mic gain, and we still don't have much change on the ALC meter. I'm not getting 2/3, and of course I never have. Audio, pretty much straight up and down, 50%.
Yes, sir. I can see on my VU meter that you're right at 3 dB. So I think I would turn that compressor off, and tell me about your antenna system with the compressor off.
Antenna system with the compressor off.
Roger that. Processor is currently off. My antenna is a 71-foot in-fed half-wave. The far end of the antenna is about 30 feet up in the tree in my backyard. The unknown is very close to my house. It's about 20 feet off the ground, so I'm in a sloper configuration. Roger?
Yes, sir. I think it's a lot cleaner without the compressor, so I would run it without compression. Roger?
Without compression. Roger?
Roger that.
And I don't think it was really doing that much, but as far as keeping your level up, but it was kind of playing with all kinds of mouth noises. So this way, it's sounding a whole lot cleaner. Roger?
Sounding a whole lot cleaner. Roger?
Roger that. There was another caller coming in, asked what radio. It's a Yaesu FT710. Roger?
Yeah, I had some trouble with my 710. I never could get the ALC on it to go over half scale on it either, so I just disregarded that movement.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't know, but usually ALC is the Bible of everybody's radio. You've got to adjust your mic level according to your ALC, and that will tell you when you get 100% or what your modulation index is. That's how you set level on a radio, as opposed to just arbitrarily setting the mic level. Roger?
Setting the mic level. Roger?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, but that particular radio, the ALC adjustment, cannot help you set that adjustment that you want to set. You have to set it some other way.
Worked on the 710 was not, and it was all related to ALC and mic gain. So, and I didn't pay much attention to the video and watch it all. So I probably need to go back and watch that to see what the outcome of that. If there was a resolution to that. Roger.
Roger, we had a little doubling there in the first part of your transmission, but I copy the latter. And the book sometimes is more complicated than what things need to be. There's all kinds of ways of getting from here to there, and sometimes the more simplistic maneuver is a lot of times better than going through 5 pages of, some engineer's fantasy land, and some of them are pretty farcical. As far as how to get from here to there, it's everybody, just out of curiosity, and what we do is a generic setup pretty much, but everybody can run a +3 on their compressor processor. It doesn't take a middle giant to be able to just put your radio on a 3 out of 10 or a 30 out of 100, just a third of that compressor, and so, our setup says, to start with a 3, and that's plenty enough. The 3 and the 6 are the same as far as actually working on the word. The only difference is the 6 gives you suck up between the words, which doesn't do you any good. So a 3 is just just fine. It's something you'll never hear, but it does help your modulation index to some degree. And then the other thing, obviously, in that realm is regards to the ALC. And, we have found that 2/3 is the sweet spot on most everybody's radio. You're out of the red, but you're above halfway. And the way to get to there is the magic word audio. It's just a beautiful word for setting a level, which is actually what you're doing with your mic gain control. Roger?
With your mic gain control, Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I'm going to have to do some more research on because I do know there's some peculiarities about this 710 and ALC and processor level, so I'm going to go back and watch those videos. I'm just happy that I'm making it all the way to you today. Again, this will be the third Friday that I've tried to get contact, so I'm just happy I've made it that far, so I call that progress. Roger?
Yes, sir. I'm down on my Georgia SDR this afternoon, and that's where I'm picking you up, and you're doing a great job. So, gosh, let me jump out of here, Troy, and we'll say 73 to you, sir. You have a great afternoon, and study up on that book. I think where you are is just perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. I would get the Gorilla Tape out and taper down. Roger?
Gorilla Tape out and taper down. Roger?
Roger that. Thanks for your time this afternoon. 73 to yourself. Have a good weekend. Bye now.
Roger, 73. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Video you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo 4 Tango Kilo Whiskey.
Tango Kilo Whiskey, Roger. What's the name there?
Kilo Whiskey, Roger. What's the name there?
Name here is Andy.
Hello, Andy, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
Hello, Andy, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
I'm the very southeastern corner of Tennessee, about 40 miles east of Chattanooga.
Roger, Andy, and what radio are you running today?
Roger, Andy, and what radio are you running today?
I'm running a Flex 6400M.
Roger. Well, why don't you give me about 10 seconds, tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look around for a better path, Roger?
And I'll look around for a better path, Roger?
Okay, running north and south, build that 10-gauge wire. It was pretty resonant all the way across the band, but it's pretty good here. I believe it's stretched out a little bit. I need to drop it down and retune it, put it back up, but for here it's okay.
Yes, sir. What was Andy? Yes, Andy. Well, gosh, why don't you go to your ALC and with mic gain in hand, and as you say the word audio, adjust your mic level until your ALC is running 2/3, Roger?
I'm already a step ahead of you there. I've got the ALC right exactly where it needs to be at 2/3 on the Flex, and the processor is on. All you have on the processor is normal, DX, and DX Plus, and it is on normal.
Yes, sir. That's where you want to be on that radio. We've gone through that many times. Normal is a nice setting. DX 2 and 3 are too much, Roger. So normal is a good position to be on that radio, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, it seems to work out great there. I set the EQ up the best I could. I hadn't had the radio about a week, but I've got it to where the guys that I'm talking to every day said it at least it sounds like me now.
Yes, sir. The EQ curve sounds just beautiful. I'm just questioning your, as far as the mic level control. Double check that. Say if you would, just say the word audio and adjust your mic level until your reference point is 2/3. Roger. There, it's about 2/3 on the Flex. You're supposed to post on this level meter.
it goes to up to -10, and there's a 0 out there at the end. And from what I've heard, you're supposed to put that little dot in between the -10 and the 0, but it's back down below the -10 now.
Yes, sir. And what you want to do is maybe keep that ALC meter out so you can see it as you speak. I'm seeing some fluctuation in your voice level, and usually when you're 2/3 level into your ALC, you're pretty fat, and your meter my meter does not move that quick ballistically because it's looking at a 3 dB dynamic range, and yeah, but I would keep that mic gain and keep your eyes on that ALC meter as you're talking around to friends and stuff, and between the maybe moving your mic up and whatnot to just try to keep your voice in the ALC range at 2/3, Roger.
Okay, that works. That right now is around 2/3 of the way up, but it was up on the right hand side of the 10, in between the 10 and the 0, and now it's down. Not even about half. It's down. Not even.
Yes, I was just moving around trying to see if I could get you down on my Georgia SDR, but I can't. I did, but I do have you on my 7300 locally. So, and I like your audio curve. It's nice and articulated, and gosh, I think you'll like your recording. If you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow, Roger.
Okay, so you think I pretty well got the EQ set right on it?
Yes, sir. It sounds nice and articulated, nice and clean, and full, and articulated. That's the thing. You don't want to be muddy because there's enough things going against somebody, trying to get from point A to point B in ham radio, that you need to be, fairly well articulated so folks can not only hear you but understand what you're saying. And that's the whole idea about articulation, Roger.
Okay, I just went to an SDR, and pretty much that's the way I set it up, so I must have got her pretty well right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think you'll agree when you check out your recording. It's just where it should be. So let me say 73 to you, Andy, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We'd love to have you.
All right. Appreciate you. KK4, take it in.
Give me that call sign one more time. It's KK4 TKW. Is that a Roger?
Yeah, Kilo 4, Tango, Kilo Whiskey.
Roger, Andy. 73, sir. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
This is Alpha Juliet 4 Golf Whiskey.
This is Alpha Juliet 4 Golf Whiskey, Alpha Juliet 4 Golf Whiskey, checking in via that, over.
Is that Alpha Juliet something? Come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Slowly, phonetically with your call sign.
Alpha Juliet 4 Golf Whiskey. Alpha Juliet 4 Golf Whiskey.
Roger, Golf Whiskey, and what's the name there?
Roger, Golf Whiskey, and what's the name there?
Name is Gary.
Spell that phonetically.
Phonetically.
Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee.
Roger, Gary. That's why it's a good idea to spell things phonetically, because I thought you said anyway, we got the right name there, Gary. And what's your location, sir?
Gary, and what's your location, sir? Roger, I'm in, my station is in the northern part of West Virginia, the northern part of the state of West Virginia, over.
Roger, Gary, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Gary, and what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, I have a ICOM 7300 feeding a clear 6-band antenna, over.
Okay, Gary, why don't you tell me about your antenna system and give me about 10 seconds of that so I can tune around and see if I can find a better path for us.
Roger, I have a west of the mountains in Valley, West Virginia near Canaan Valley. The town is Thomas, West Virginia, cute little town. Band antenna in the backyard with a good ground plane I put in, and that on a slope of a hill facing west, but I get pretty good propagation north and south, over.
Roger, call sign is Kilo, Charlie, 9, Victor, Kilo, Victor. And this is the Qso-Vlog net, and my name is Jim, KC9VKV, and we're down around Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River right at Louisville, Roger.
Roger. Sounds like a beautiful part of the country, over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. I've lived a few places, and by all means, this is the better place to be, and I'm glad to be here. You know, it's about the time you get tired of one season, the next one comes around, and you know, it just keeps life interesting. As opposed to, you know, I'm originally from Florida, down around West Palm Beach, and I enjoyed being there for a while, and then I, you know, was up here, and you know, you forget sometimes about the disadvantages of, like in Florida, you know, the mosquitoes and the no-see-ums and all kinds of animals that want a piece of you, Roger.
I understand. I lived in South Dade County, south of Miami, for junior high and high school, and I went to college out of there. My folks moved to Texas. I was in the Coast Guard for 20 years, so I lived in a number of places, all pretty nice since they're by the coast. Seattle, Washington. I had a tour in southern Italy. I lived in London, Connecticut. So a lot of nice parts of the country, over.
Yes, sir. Now, did you have to get out there in them boats and try to save them people, those fishermen in bad weather and stuff?
Negative. What I did, I was on an icebreaker. I was on a polar icebreaker. We went to the Arctic and the Antarctic. That was my initial tour. I later got into electronics in the Coast Guard, particularly Loran Charlie. I don't know if you're familiar with radio navigation, but I was a Loran Charlie engineer. Had a station and a Loran chain I ran in the Mediterranean Sea, over.
Roger. Now, let me see if I reflect properly on that. And you might know, but I was in West Palm Beach. That's where I lived. And up around Jupiter, I think there was a Loran station, and there was seemed to be up around, 2 kilohertz or something like that. And it just was kind of a noisy kind of thing that just generated a signal all the time, Roger?
Absolutely. That was Loran Station, Jupiter. I think it was Jupiter Beach, Florida. There was a Loran station there. It was 100 kilohertz, 100 kilohertz signal pulse, put out about a quarter of a megawatt pulse power. And they also had a package store, Coast Guard Exchange package store, so they had to put a Lieutenant JG in as command of that instead of a warrant officer, so they had the package store there, over.
Yes, sir. Now, when you say a quarter of a million watts, does that have anything to do with the gain of the antenna, or is that just a brute? I mean, you know, it's hard to figure that you could get a gain antenna at that frequency. So, are you talking about AC power in that range?
It's peak power. It's a pulse system. Put out 8 pulses in a string at a certain group repetition interval, which is how the navigation works. but it's brute power, just a big Hertz transmitter, water-cooled tube, into a, let's see, Jupiter Florida probably had a 825-foot tower. They might have been a half a meg. If they had the new solid-state station, I think they had installed about a half a megawatt. But it's an electrically short antenna, so it's a relatively inefficient antenna at 100 kilohertz. Over.
Oh, yes, sir. That would probably be like a power line running 5 miles back in the woods, Roger.
Power line running 5 miles back in the woods, Roger. Right. The one that's like a power line is the Omega system, which has, I think, the tallest tower on French soil is on, what's the island off Africa? Le Réunion Island. They have the tallest towers. In Hawaii, they had a valley span antenna. In Norway, they had an antenna that spanned the fjord. That was the Omega system, which was even below the Lorentz wavelength. Over.
Roger. Now, and then so a ship would use a direction finder to tell them where they were by receiving that signal off of Jupiter?
Receiving that signal off of Jupiter? Negative. It was not a RDF system. We had radio beacons for that. The Lorentz system worked on hyperbolic navigation. You have a chain of stations geographically distributed that put out pulses at the same group repetition rate, and you receive the maybe 3 pulses from the master and the 2 slave stations on your receiver, and you measure the time difference between them, and that's mathematically a hyperbolic line that you would find yourself on. So you get 3 lines and you get a fix from that. So it's called a hyperbolic navigation system. Think of if you were in a battle and you had 3 cannons around you that fired that were far away, and you heard the boom, boom, boom separated in time. If you could figure out the time difference and the speed of sound, you could locate yourself with respect to the cannons. Over.
Roger, but it was part of a marine navigational system, Roger.
A marine navigational system, Roger. Absolutely. The Lorentz C was put in for maritime navigation. The stations I had in the Mediterranean Sea were put there to support the Navy's nuclear submarines. They aimed their weapon system and navigated with Lorentz C, among other things. Over.
Roger. Now, I don't want you to divulge any top secrets here, but them submarines ain't flying in the air. They're down underneath the water, and they're copying the mail on this Lorentz C underneath the water. Is that a Roger?
Lorentz C underneath the water. Is that a Roger? That's an interesting question. The submarines would trail this long antenna behind them, a trailing antenna, big long antenna, a couple meters beneath the surface. They couldn't be too deep. They developed a system. It was not a communication system originally. It was just navigation. But they developed a technique called two-pulse communications, where they would take 2 of the 8 pulses in the pulse train, and they'd modulate it, move them time and back in time to make zeros and ones. And they could send out some low bandwidth, really low bandwidth messages on the 2-pulse comms. The Navy, of course, had their other system, the VLF system for communications that had the terrestrial antennas. But Lorentz C was mostly for navigation, but they did put a little communication feature on it that could be used to send signals to the submarine.
Roger, Gary. Well, let me salute you, sir, for your efforts and your service to your country, sir. And we appreciate you, Roger.
Sure, and we appreciate you, Roger. Well, I appreciate that.
So let me say 73, Gary. Your radio sounds really nice. I would keep it just like that. I wish I had a better copy on you, but conditions are what they are, and I went around the horn looking for a better situation. We run 4 Internet SDR receivers, and then we have a 5th that is loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed SDR locations covering mainly 20 states in the eastern part of the United States, with the theory being that a 100-watt transmitter in the eastern part of the United States should be S7, S5 somewhere, but a lot of times we're running across folks that even though we're running 4 Internet SDRs plus the 50 other, and plus my local antennas, which includes 3 vertical magnetic loops, I can barely hear them. So, it has to do with the antennas. And I have found, I think, the ideal answer is a tuned dipole antenna. A resonant tuned dipole antenna, I think, is probably one of the most efficient antennas going. Roger?
Probably one of the most efficient antennas going. Roger? I think you're right. If you build it right and tune it, it's very powerful. You get a little limitation on direction, but it's hard to beat on it. Radio.
Roger, Gary. Well, listen, 73 to you, sir. If you want to hear your audio, if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger. 1,000, and I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger.
Roger, 73.
Roger. And with that being said, we got to get out of here and return this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV, the Qso-Vlog net, clear.